You're watching CNN. I'm Brooke Baldwin. Let's get to this mystery death of a man in Baltimore police custody. The autopsy on Freddie Gray is now complete. The names of the officers involved in his arrest have been released, but more information has not yet led to any more clarity on how this 25-year-old suspect broke his neck after Baltimore police arrested him on April 12th. He died a week later. The department has suspended these 6 officers with pay, but officials did not specify on the reasons why. However, the mayor of the city of Baltimore did share this with CNN.
We know that he asked for medical attention. We know that that medical attention was not immediately requested for him. We know that was a mistake.
That conclusion based on the fact that Gray asked for medical help more than once while being transported in that van. But officials say they do not know how or when Gray's spinal cord was severed. Was it before or after he got in the van? They're not saying. What's more, Gray's autopsy revealed his spinal injury was the only trauma to his body.
There was no physical bodily injury that we saw, nor was it evident in the autopsy of Mr. Gray. None of his limbs were broken.
This is far from the first time Baltimore police have been accused of excessive force. In fact, an investigation by the Baltimore Sun found that since 2011, the city of Baltimore has paid out close to $6 million in court judgments or settlements to victims of police abuse here. Nearly another $6 million was spent on the legal fees for all of these cases that are scrolling on your screen. With me now, the reporter behind the Sun investigation, Mark Puente. Mark, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
So what kinds of stories did you hear from these victims? I mean, what ultimately was the issue with all of these cases involving police?
The issue was there wasn't much oversight within the Baltimore Police Department when there was allegations of abuse by their officers. Our investigation found that in 102 lawsuits, similarities emerged pretty fast. Officers made questionable arrests, and there was battered bones, broken faces, broken arms, severe injuries. They were all charged with similar crimes: obstruction, hindering, disorderly, assault on a law enforcement officer. Most charges in all cases were subsequently dropped. Most victims were African Americans, and they later sued, and they collected either through a settlement or a jury verdict. Our investigation further found the department didn't track that multiple officers had been sued several times, and the cities paid out multiple claims at the same time for each officer without knowing about it. There was many gaps in their system.
So now I know the Department of Justice is investigating, right, because of what you all were able to do with the newspaper. Also related to this current case, Baltimore police, they've since released the names of those 6 officers suspended because of Freddie Gray's death. In your investigation, Mark, are other officers accused in these lawsuits? Are they held accountable? I mean, what happens to them?
In our investigation, we couldn't find any examples where officers were held accountable. The department's own strategic plan says discipline has never been a priority within this department. Like I said, there was no tracking mechanism. Many officers never filed use of force reports, or many complaints of force were never investigated by Internal Affairs. Internal Affairs has lots of problems, and the commissioner and the mayor have vowed to clean up that bureau and make it more accountable to the officers and residents.
Speaking of the mayor, because the obvious follow-up question is, well, have you seen progress since this investigation? This is what she just said.
We have a very challenging history in Baltimore when it comes to police misconduct, brutality, and I, as mayor, have been determined to make progress. The number of lawsuits brought against the city, against the police department under my administration has gone down. Discourtesy complaints, excessive force complaints, all gone down.
She says it's gone down. Mark, has it gone down? How's the progress been?
Well, they have come out and got out in front of everything and said they're going to be more transparent and accountable. When the mayor and commissioner cite that the lawsuits have went down, they're not saying that there was almost 160 filed in 2013 and 2014. These can play out for years in the court system, so these payouts could take another 4 or 5 years. In more cases, will in all likelihood come through the system, so it'll be a long time process.
Mark Puente with the Baltimore Sun, thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.